Hey everybody, welcome to We Live in Color. I'm your host Deontay Damper, and I'm so happy that you chose to join us during this amazing Pride Month, okay? Now before we even begin, I need you to like, share, and subscribe to Converge, where you can learn more about The Day with Trae, Back to Basic, and this very show We Live in Color. Go to whereweconverge.com to see why Black media matters. I am excited about this Pride Month. We get to take pride in not just our community, but also ourselves. I think back to the younger me, where I didn't feel like I could be able to use my voice. It took me a long time to find my voice. And I'm so excited to have this guest here because even at their young age, they know who they are. From the alignment crew, I even knew them back in the day with Cutting Up. But today, they are sitting as a guest for the show. Micaiah Jeffrey.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing good.
I'm so happy that you chose to come on. I tried to get you back in what was that, season 1?
Probably.
But you be so booked and busy.
Thank you for having me.
I'm happy to have you here. And you know, before we get into your journey, what does Pride Month mean to you?
I think for me, Pride Month has always been a time where I get to be fully myself. So it's where I don't sacrifice parts of myself. And I've also been working on this recently. It's like, when I show up places, I show up as my queer self, as my trans self, regardless of people's opinions.
And you know, I think that is a bold statement, especially with what we've been dealing with this month. So high five on that. And you know, Micaiah, growing up and trying to find my way, I told you I had a hard time with finding my path. But tell us a little bit about your journey.
So I grew up, I think the main things are like my dad was a pastor. So I grew up mostly going to church. But also I was always kind of just quiet growing up. So I didn't really have like a clique or things that I gravitated to until like when I was 9 and I found dance. And I started through musicals, but then later it was when I met Coach and like started dancing with Cutting Up. And that was really like, I think dance became like my defining thing of like, I would just like all my friends were through dance and all of like my expression was through dance. And so that was really what led me to discover who I was, and that was really what kind of helped me discover who I was.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is, we all go through those things of like, how do we find, I went through a phase where it was hard for me to find myself, and then I found my people. And then it became like this, I don't know, Ariana Grande has a song called Break Free, but that's how I felt. What are some of the things that Cutting Up was able to do for you in that space?
Cutting Up was really like, well, I think the first thing was being around Black people, because I was at church, but the church was mostly
And we have Black people at that church.
No, it's Black, it's a Black church, but it was like a lot of older people or a lot of, even like the kids, I don't know, I just didn't relate to them a lot, but I think Cutting Up was, I get to be in a room with Black people and we all have the same goals and the same mindset, which I didn't really have at school. So that was really nice. And I think the other thing from Cutting Up was just like being authentic and kind of like, one thing I realized like after I left was that Cutting Up, we were always like going 100%. So like putting ourselves fully into something, like fully committing to things, which then helped me a lot, both in that time, but also later when I got to spaces and I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing, but it's like, I know I'm supposed to commit 100%.
Yeah.
And so I really liked that.
See, and I love Cutting Up. I wish I could dance, but I just wasn't. I just not that talented. But for you to be able to find that outlet, and then church on the other hand too, and also being a PK kid, what was that pressure like?
There was never pressure from inside of my house, which I always appreciated. Like, it would always, because I never really thought about it. I was like, oh, I dance and my dad's a pastor. I never really thought about the connection until like I would hear church people, or I would like, because there was one time it was like a long span of time when I would have rehearsals like right after church. So we would like get up as church was leaving and like me and my mom would walk out the door so I could go to rehearsals. And I remember like kind of in that moment being like, I wonder if the church members are like judging us, or like when I performed and my mom used to post about my performances, it would be like, I wonder if they have something to say.
Right.
But I think my parents did a good job of like letting me never worry about that, because they were like kind of the message was that I'm not hurting anybody and I'm expressing myself, and that's all that matters.
Absolutely. I mean, I just think of me growing up in church. I actually sang church, but growing up in church, it was always very hard. And when I got into the spaces of my discovery of how I identified, I thought to myself of like, what would they think? How did you go through your process?
I definitely thought about that. I think it was also, when I started dancing a lot, it was also at a time when I started to just not like church for other reasons. Because I think I just didn't like people looking at me and judging me in general, whether it was because of dance or whether it's because of like my dad or like whatever. So I think my mentality was like, I would think about what they thought about me, but I would also at the same time, I was really angry at them anyways. So I was like, I don't really care, because I'm just gonna go and do what I want to do. So yeah, it's kind of a mix of those things.
Yeah. And did you feel pressure? Like, my coming out story was it wasn't traumatic, right? I remember telling my mama and her being quiet for like 10 minutes. And then it was like, well, let me learn. Let me figure it out. How was that process for you?
Coming out was like a little iffy. So it was kind of the same thing with my mom, where I told her and she was like, okay, like I want to learn. And then we used to watch a lot of YouTube videos and stuff about like being trans. And I think that was very helpful. With my dad, it was a little iffy, where I came out to him and it took him a while to kind of, it was a thing where like, I've experienced with other people too, where like on surface, they accept being queer, being trans, but when you actually have to like deal with realities, like for example, dealing with like medical transition was something he was like, he just didn't want to think about it, didn't want to deal with it, which for me, like I'm a minor, so I need his approval. Like I'm like, if I want to medically transition at all, I need you to know about it. But so he was kind of closed off on that avenue for like 2 years, which caused me like a lot of stress and a lot of sadness during that time. But 2 years later, he was able to like come back around and learn about transitioning and learn about that stuff. And yeah.
But it just has to feel good now to get that support. Your family's always been just super supportive of the community in itself, and let alone you getting that support has to just be empowering, because I feel the love from your family all the time, and community feels it as well. But I'm so proud of like the work that you do, because you've also turned that into activism work and your craft in the areas of dance. So I want to unpack that. When we come back from the break, we're going to take one break and we'll be back. And you are watching We Live in Color.
Black caregivers, entrepreneurs, and elders, this one's for you. Queen Care is offering complimentary self-care services to those who give so much to their communities. Take a moment to restore, recharge, and be cared for with free wellness treatments at the Spa House by Queen Care. Spots are limited, so don't wait. Go to queencareproducts.com now to sign up, or scan the QR code on your screen, because you deserve the same care you give to others.
Listen up, Puget Sound.
This is a call to my fellow Black business owners.
It's your girl, Vasa Gordon.
It's your boy, Eric Calligraphy, and I know times are tough out here.
Especially for our restaurants, dude. I already know you're feeling the weight.
But let me be clear. We're not going to stand by and watch our community struggle.
Here at Back to Vasa and Converge Media, we know Black businesses are the heartbeat of our community.
You bring the culture, the flavor, and the soul, and we need you to keep on thriving.
We need you. So that's why we're opening our platforms to you. Whether it's telling your story, shining a light on your challenges, grabbing resources for you to know about. Dude, we even want to help bring more customers through your doors.
Man, we got you. Are you a restaurant owner trying to keep your lights on? A new business fighting to make your mark? Whatever your story, we want to hear it and help.
In order to make that happen, we need for you to head on over to whereweconverge.com/support Black business and let us know what's happening. Let Back to Vasa and Converge Media amplify your voice and help drive traffic to your business.
Man, don't wait. Converge Media is here to uplift Black business in the Puget Sound. So man, make sure you visit whereweconverge.com support Black business, and let's rise together.
Come celebrate Juneteenth, a road to economic freedom with us in Tacoma, Washington at Stewart Heights Park on June 19th. It's one big happy family reunion that you don't want to miss. Join us as we bring singing powerhouse Crystal Aiken and the legendary gospel superstar himself, Fred Hammond. But that's not all. We're bringing back the old school with everyone's favorite Soul for Real. And there's so much more. June 19th in Tacoma. For more information, visit juneteenthwa.com.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to We Live in Color. I am here with Micaiah Jeffrey. So we were talking during the break, and I'm just in awe of your work. I love what you do in the areas of arts, but I think, as you said, arts also empowered you because you wrote an amazing op-ed last year. It really spoke to the volumes of, I always see when we're looking at trans representation here in our state, it never looks like us. And when we see young folks, they don't look like us. And you were able to stand your ground. Can you talk a little bit more about that article?
Yeah, I was grateful for given the opportunity. I was grateful for the opportunity to write an op-ed, and I think I got to pick my topic, and so the first thing that came to mind was just having there was a lot of anti-trans healthcare bills at the time being passed across the country. I think now there's more again.
Yeah.
But so I was thinking about that a lot, just in terms of my own transition, but also kids around the country and kind of what they were feeling. And yeah, that's why I chose to write it. And
That's okay.
I think for me, it was really just about expressing my personal emotions. And I think that's kind of how I go into a lot of things, are I'm just gonna say how I'm feeling about it, and I'm just gonna say the problems I have with it and the struggles I'm going through, and then I'm hoping that affects other people. I'm hoping that changes something.
And what was some of the reception that you got from that?
I don't know.
You don't know? You just put it out? You good.
Well, I got reception from you,
Yeah.
and I think I got reception from a couple other people saying it was just impactful for them, or they felt it really summarized kind of how they're feeling or how trans people must be feeling about it.
Yeah.
I also think I struggle with this in just kind of all forms of activism that I kind of do, of is it good enough, or did the impacts really hit? So
we're breathing. It's impact. We are moving. We're advocating. We're protecting and building. Someone read that article and felt seen. I read that article and felt like I needed to see more. I needed to figure out how can I give my siblings a safe place to land. So yes, you did. You did, and you're doing, because you are also a host on a show that comes on. So how did you get in with Recess?
Recess was just an opportunity. When I was in high school, it was just one of my counselors just asked me, do you want to apply for this job? And I think I went home and I did a lot of research on creative justice and just saw what they were about. And also they're super close to my house and in my neighborhood.
You said walking distance.
Yeah. So I was I think I want to be a part of that. And so I applied and then got an interview and then became a host. And I found, because I kind of applied just wanting a job, but I think
okay.
Well, yeah, but wanting a job and then wanting to work in community. But I found that I really liked journalism, and I really liked specifically researching people and researching different topics. Right now we're talking about substance use and mental health. So I've gotten to do a lot of research on specifically Seattle and how Seattle handles those topics, and I'm really interested in that, and I really like doing that.
Name some of the other episodes that you've done that you've really liked.
So I think the first episode was one I really liked. We got to interview local artists. So I got to actually interview somebody who's been a mentor and somebody who's really inspired me in the dance community. Her name's Evie. And then we also got to interview a local music artist named Oblé Reed. And I really liked that because it was just kind of my world of arts, and then combined with at that time what was like a new job of doing the podcast.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I love it because it's not just you, right? It's a team of y'all that work together, get to pick the topics, the people, the questions. And I just find it to be so rewarding to watch. And what is the reception that you've got? Because one of my favorite episodes was the one that you did with your dad. What was that like?
Doing that episode was very fun. It was originally it was pitched as like interviewing elders and like giving things to elders about like topics that we're interested in. And I think for that one, I immediately thought of my dad because I was just like, I just like talking to him, or he'll just kind of go on like, like sometimes we'll have like very long conversations about like life or like philosophy on different things. And so I really like doing that because it was really just a conversation we will just have like in our house. But I'm glad that it got recorded to see like, this is how I kind of have learned to walk through life and the way I'm been taught how to like treat people, how to accept different things that happen to me. And yeah, so I'm glad that kind of that aspect got recorded.
It was so beautiful. I loved watching it and just seeing both leaders, generations of leaders to be able to do that. I mean, you are both using your voices and you don't stop. No different from him. And from recess to now in the areas of the alignment crew, tell us more about the alignment crew and how you were able to put that together.
Yeah, so alignment crew, it's mainly freestyle like group between me and two of my close friends named Comic and Archa. And it was really like, I had the idea like early 2024 because Seattle's dance scene is really kind of catered towards older people and catered towards like going to the club, which is cool because that's how a lot of the dances started.
And you calling me old, but keep on going.
It's older than me. But I wanted kind of a space for people my age or people like college age where we could support each other and feel safe with each other and uplift each other with dance. And that's what became Alignment Crew. And it was really like all three of us coming together and like figuring out like how we're gonna dance, how we're gonna approach like different dance events, how we're gonna, we started eventually doing performances. Yeah, and I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, and I've seen y'all, and I've loved it. And I think that it takes a lot of discipline, right? And I think that there's a lot of folks that are afraid to get into arts to see like what it can also put you in alignment with. So what's some advice that you can give to some youth that are out there that are looking to get into arts?
My advice is generally just like go, like if you see something you're interested, just go to it. Because that's really like everything I've gotten into has just been from me going, like seeing flyers, seeing people that I enjoyed and just like going up to them. Even when I was initially like very shy about it, but I would just like, my friends would kind of just drag me but it would end up being like an amazing experience, and it would end up kind of like, there's a lot of experience I've had that have changed my life, and I didn't even know beforehand like what was gonna happen.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna write that down. And I really wanna hear about some of these events that y'all got coming up, but we're gonna unpack that, and we're gonna do the We Live in Color tribute, but we're gonna take a quick break. We'll be back. You're watching We Live in Color.
Getting the scholarship really changed the conversation. It went from, no, I can do school in my free time and make it work, to I can only focus on school and I can be the best I can be every single day. I can soak up everything. I can read before class and make sure I'm not just learning enough to pass a test. Like I could really pour all my time into school. That's what having a Seattle College Foundation Scholarship did for me.
Africa Town Plaza is our latest affordable housing development project. It's 126 units of affordable housing over community commercial space.
It's the first time in my career, and I've been doing this for 10 years, that I was able to design for people who look like me.
Africa Town Plaza is a beacon of hope.
Africa Town Plaza is a love letter to the community.
Black caregivers, entrepreneurs, and elders, this one's for you. Queen Care is offering complimentary self-care services to those who give so much to their communities. Take a moment to restore, recharge, and be cared for with free wellness treatments at the Spa House by Queen Care. Spots are limited, so don't wait. Go to queencareproducts.com now to sign up or scan the QR code on your screen because you deserve the same care you give to others.
And we're back with We Live in Color. It is time for our We Live in Color tribute. Micaiah Jeffrey, who has helped you live in color?
My tribute is to Coach. He's really the reason I'm dancing at all now. Like, he's the first person who taught me like hip hop dance. He's the first person I was training with. But more than that, I think kind of growing up dancing around him was really beneficial in ways I didn't realize at the time, because it was just like having a queer Black man who was like very powerful and very authentic and who would like encourage me and encourage not just me but everybody around him. Like, it didn't matter who you were, like what you were doing. It was like, you need to just be yourself and like commit to stuff. And I really carry that, like those lessons now, because a lot of times I'm in spaces where people don't look like me, or they don't like, we don't have similar vibes or similar opinions, but I kind of carry how he, like I practice like what he practiced. I carry myself like with confidence. Well, not always, but I try to carry myself with confidence like he does. And yeah, so that's my tribute.
Yeah, I love Coach. Coach is probably the most tributed person here. And it's just so great to watch some of the folks who he somewhat raised, implanted seeds in, sprout out with the giving out community roots. So thank you, Coach. We love you here. We know you're gonna come back here to We Live in Color soon, honey. So, but now we're in the areas of, you are starting your own. You have Alignment Crew. What are some of the things that y'all got going on this weekend?
So we have an event June 6th. It's with Co-Seattle, and it's gonna be, it's really cool. There's 2 shows in the same evening, and it's gonna be like, it's a group of dance artists from like ballet, contemporary, but also like hip hop and different styles. And it's a very cool space. It's like standing and like moving around. And it's like essentially like an art exhibit kind of, but like with dancers. So I'm really excited for that.
Okay, well, we're gonna have to check it out, okay? And I mean, I wish I could go, but you know, I got 2 left feet. Maybe y'all can have me join. Well, we'll talk about it later on. But before we get out of here, I wanna make sure that we do the right call to action, right? So if you could do me a favor, look in that camera and let community know what they need to be doing right now.
My call to action would be to be more gracious with people and to listen more to people. I think I deal with specific circumstances in my life where I've tried to communicate with a lot of people, and a lot of times there'll be hatred between different groups of people, but it's not necessarily necessary. And so I think if you are trying to communicate with people, or if you're trying to build things with people, be sure to be patient with them, be sure to listen to them, and take time, especially if they are young, especially if they are queer, especially if they are people of color. Like, be patient with them.
Oh, that was good. Mike, I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
It is so great to watch you go from shy to knowing self to also creating spaces for other people so they can know themselves. I've always loved your family and you, but just watching you grow, it just gives me so much hope. I grew up in that same church, and I used to feel like I couldn't fit anywhere, but watching you walk around with confidence, it just gives me hope. And I want to thank you for helping me live in color. Okay? Thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you.
And thank you so much, community, for joining us. You know, and we are just now getting started with this Pride Month, so go ahead, grab some snacks in the word of Besa, and join us here next Thursday for another amazing episode of We Live in Color. This is Pride Month, this is Juneteenth month, okay? And we're gonna walk with love. Have a good night.